Hey, what's going on? I'm here to do a review for the film Deadpool 2. I remember seeing the first Deadpool when the first one came out. I believe it was in 2014. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't exactly remember the date for the film. I went into that movie not knowing anything about the Deadpool character. I just remember seeing the previews and I said this movie looks pretty interesting. It's pretty funny and looks pretty hilarious and everything like that. And besides, Ryan Reynolds needed a huge win after he caught a huge L with that god-awful Green Lantern film that came out a few years before it. And that movie really exceeded my expectations. I enjoyed it, and I said if they ever came out with a second one, I would definitely be down to go and watch that film, not knowing really what to expect. But when I found out they were making a Deadpool 2, I was really excited about it. And then when I got a few details about what was to come and like what characters they were going to introduce, I said, okay, I'm sold. So basically, this film was about Wade Wilson, Deadpool, whose mission in this film is to protect this boy by the name of Russell, and his code name or his mutant name is called Fire Fist, and he basically can not shoot fire out of his hands, but he can actually make fire come from his hands. It's almost like he's the actual mutant version of Pyro. If you know the Pyro mutant, he can only manipulate the fire, so he has to use like some kind of a match or a starter to actually shoot the fire from his hands. The Fire Fist character, he can actually shoot the fire from his body, and it comes through his hands. And he basically has to protect this kid from the Cable character played by Josh Brolin, who, by the way, just got done playing Thanos in Avengers Infinity War. So it's like he went from playing one iconic comic book character, a Marvel character, to playing another iconic Marvel character, but in another film. And basically, Cable can time travel. He can go from the future to the past, and then of course be in the present day as well. And basically, what he has what Cable is trying to do is he has to try and stop Fire Fist from doing or killing, because he knows what is to come in the future. Basically, the Fire Fist character is the one who's responsible for killing Cable's family, his wife and his daughter, and he has to go into the past, which for us would be present day, in order to stop that from happening. But Deadpool has to stop Cable from actually doing it. And basically, this is like Deadpool's way of trying to, I guess, show a softer side to him, because Deadpool's always the more sarcastic kind of guy, but he's also the kind of guy that will go in for the kill whenever he feels necessary. But that's basically like the summary of the film. You have Cable that's trying to stop this kid because he knows this kid is dangerous and is going to kill his family, and he has to prevent it from happening. And Cable's only way of doing it, he feels, is by stopping him is by killing the kid. Deadpool has to prevent Cable from killing the kid. So it's very interesting how all of that happens. And we get introduced to a few new characters, like I said, Cable being one of them. That's a character I think a lot of people have been wanting to see for a long time. If you don't know who Cable is, his real name is Nathan Summers. That last name Summers should be real familiar to you. Scott Summers is Cyclops, as you know, from X-Men. And his mother, well, let's put it this way. His mother is quote-unquote Jean Grey, but not Jean Grey. And what I mean is she's a clone. His mother is a clone of Jean Grey, so he still has some of her powers, and you can actually see it in the movie. He actually uses some of his telekinetic abilities in the film. He's almost like part human, part cyborg. He almost reminds me of the Terminator a little bit, especially in the aspect that he's in the future and he's going to the past. He's part robot, part human, and everything like that. Other characters we get introduced to is Domino, which I think hands down is probably going to end up being a fan favorite, played by Zazie Beetz. If you don't know who she is, she plays Van on Atlanta. She plays Earn, who's played by Donald Glover. She plays his baby's mother. Well, they used to be in a relationship, but if you watch this recent season, they kind of broke up. But she plays Domino. Domino is basically a character who uses the manipulation of luck to have everything work into her favor, but she really doesn't know that. I think I read somewhere it says she has some kind of hidden telekinetic ability that produces her luck, but she doesn't really know it. So she's always been saying that, she's always lucky, and she's always, luck is always on her side. She knows when to do something and when not to do something, and for the most part, everything really does work in her favor. Like, for instance, it was a part in the film where he assembled the X-Force, that, and speaking of X-Force, that was actually assembled in the film, where all of them had to jump out of an airplane. They actually showed this in the previews. They all jumped out of an airplane, and they were all hovering down on, you know, parachutes and everything like that. All of them landed badly, including Deadpool, but she was the only one that landed safely. And even when she landed, a whole bunch of stuff was going on around her, and she managed to dodge all of that seamlessly. And, you know, she didn't have to try to get out of the way of the things. It just happened. It just worked in her favor. So, like, if you see the movie, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. We also, like, you know, got introduced to X-Force. As we know, X-Force is basically, I guess you could say, the R-rated version, the non-kid version of X-Men. And, you know, that consisted of Deadpool, Domino, Bedlam, which is played by Terry Crews, which a lot of people didn't know Terry Crews was in this movie. This character named, what was his name? Shatterstar, I think that was his name. This other character named Zeitgeist, and then you had the guy named Peter, and he was just the guy. He just said, I'm just here because I saw the ad, I had nothing else to do, I was bored, I just wanted to come and be a part of the team, and, you know, I'm here. And they just brought him in. It was almost like an open door policy. Then of course you had your returning characters such as Blind Al, played by the legendary Leslie Uggams. Then you had Vanessa, who I'm surprised they didn't even use her powers in this, because she actually has the ability, her actual ability or power is called Copycat, and basically she can turn into anybody, almost like Mystique. But the difference between her and which actually gives her a level above Mystique is that she can not only just turn into other people, but she can actually turn into them, manipulate their powers. Like, she literally can become that person. If you remember looking in the first X-Men film with Mystique, when she turned into Wolverine, he shattered through her claws easily with ease. If Vanessa was able to turn into Wolverine, like, she would have the adamantium structure running through her body and give Wolverine a run for his money. She probably could be just as powerful as him. Then you know, you had, you know, other returning characters, like, you know, they brought the old cast back, like Dopinder, who was his cab driver. He was funny as hell in this movie, just like he was in the first one. I'm glad they brought his character back. But all in all, it was a really good movie, very funny. You can tell they amped up the comedy in this one. Ryan Reynolds was born to play Deadpool. You can tell that he's put his foot and his hard-earned time into this film. Like, this is his project. This is all him. Because you can tell he had a lot of creative control behind it. There's a lot of puns in the film that take shots at other franchises, especially in Marvel and in DC. Like, he didn't hold back. So it makes you wonder, how in the world was he able to finesse the people at that studio to allow him to use a lot of those puns? And I was actually kind of worried that they would take some things out that they showed in the previews out of the film, but everything that you saw in the previews was in the film, and then a whole lot more. Oh, and before I forget, make sure y'all stay after. There's 2 post-credit scenes. There's one, I forgot where they landed, but those are probably 2 of the best post-credit scenes I have ever seen, especially the second one. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but just know it's going to crack you the hell up. But it's going to be like, yes, this actually needed to happen. Now we can forget that any of this stuff even happened before. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. But all in all, Deadpool 2 was definitely worth it. It was well worth the hype. I definitely enjoyed it. If I had the chance to go see it again, I would. I enjoyed it. If I needed another good laugh, and especially, listen, after the events of what happened in Infinity War, we needed this film. We needed this film for a little comedic relief. We needed a little bit of a laugh, because how Avengers Infinity War ended, it ended on such a depressing note. So we definitely needed something to make us laugh and smile, and then also yell at the screen, like, oh, have one of those oh shit moments, and, you know, action and everything like that. I think the next comic book movie, which is Ant-Man and the Wasp, is going to do the same thing as well. And I think that's probably why they released the films the way that they do, because they already knew how the audience would feel after Infinity War. So we just needed that breather between that film and when, of course, Avengers 4 comes out next year. But y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know if you are going to see Deadpool 2, and if so, we can just have a discussion down in the comments if you have seen it already. And I'll talk to you in the next one.